the session, and I do not know the earlier because the organizers have told me just now that it is the continuation of the earlier session, Nation, Diaspora and Crisis. So I do not know exactly where they have located, but just for a few minutes I would like to engage you, because if we are talking about nation in the Western society and nation in the Indian society have different way of evolution. You know, usually in Western society, unilarity and commensuration between language, religion, or territory, there have been one idea, and on the basis of which nations have evolved. But India is a very unique case where there have been number of attempts to evolve the notion of nations, and at least 4 or 5 come to my mind subsequently. One, of course, is that Indian civilization was considered to be notion of nation, and this is of course a temporal history in that sense of the term, that civilization can be equated with nation. If that is the case, then world over there would have been only few nations, but that is not the case. The second conceptualization in India was composite culture. The Islamic people as well as Hindu practices were considered to be the notion of nation. Now this is of course problematic because there were many other identities which were left and not considered. So in that context we can see. The third conceptualization of course was religion. Only religion, and the 3 religions they asserted to be nation, and they wanted nation, Islam, Hindus and Sikhs. Then came whether the communities can be evolved with the territory and language, and therefore for the first time nation became political. Now in this context, when look diaspora, Indian diaspora again has a very different origin. It is not same as the term which is used very long back for Jews. There is some notion of victimhood as far as diasporas world over are concerned. But Indian diaspora is a very different origin, and in this way, if you look, Indian diaspora, it was not exiled. It was neither forced to go out, but there were lot of willingness of the people, and that Indian diaspora then therefore can be divided into old diaspora and new diaspora. The old diaspora before the colonial period, when colonialism existed in India, how people were taken to different colonies, especially if you take British colonies, how people were taken there and then they lived there. Now today, if you see the regions from say Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Trinidad, Tobago, Fiji, Suriname and South Africa, you find this old diaspora existing. But after 1945 or say after independence, we have a very new diaspora in UK, USA, Australia, Canada and then New Zealand. All these places were of new diaspora where people of literate people went there and they started. So Indian case is very different than the Western society, and therefore we keep in mind when we present our papers that it's not going to be a symmetrical analysis, and therefore you have to see the crisis as well. What are the demands by the nation, and what are the demands by diaspora, by the nation, and what is diaspora expecting from our nation? So that interaction between nation and diaspora will give us the real picture.